By now, you probably heard about the newest polemic regarding ZZZ, HP inflation. Since everyone has already content farmed this topic, I figured I would do it as well. The discussion itself lies around the fact that HP for enemies is steadily increasing over time, with there being two sides colliding to know who's right. The side that claims you need to pull Miyabi to clear in-game content because HP is too high, and the side that claims it's a skill issue. I'm going to take a very neutral stance on this and say both sides are wrong. My name is Pedro, and let's first discuss the side that claims you need to pull Miyabi to clear in-game content. I'll go back to the other point in a while. HP is rising, and that's a fact. Here's a chart showing how HP increased in between 1.0 and 1.7. It's undeniable that enemies are getting tankier. But, is that really a problem? As of ZZZ 1.7, pre-2.0? Nah man, it really isn't. First of all, HP inflation is a symptom, not a problem. I recommend this video on the topic if you're interested. It's really interesting and well explained. But in summary, you aren't always having a stroke just because your head is hurting. Sometimes you are just dehydrated. And what I mean by that is, HP inflation is a part of any gacha natural life cycle. HP will eventually go up to encourage pulling for newer units. It's how HP inflation is done that determines if it's going to be a problem or not. And the funny thing is, we have three different examples of how HP inflation is being handled in these three Hoyoverse titles: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's first talk about the older and uglier one, Genshin Impact. HP inflation is just a topic in the power creep and balancing discussion, and it's a thing in Genshin just like expected. But before Netlin, I would probably say Genshin was the most balanced gacha game out there. Sure, Neuvillette was and still is very strong, but the game wasn't expecting you to output Neuvillette's level of damage to beat every 412. The game had a damage ceiling, but it did not expect you to reach that ceiling every time to clear endgame content. Case in point, Arlecchino and Chlorine aren't stronger than the water review guy, and honestly, that's great, because it means the game was steady in terms of balancing. Don't get me wrong, I don't have Neuvillette, and actually I'm a Chlorine guy. Of course, Genshin is not all roses, and we're talking about the ugly here. In 4.7, with the release of the Imaginarium Theater, and later in 5.3 with the release of Mavuika, the game balance went to I hate the Imaginarium Theater. This is literally my bio since the game was launched. Why, you ask me? Because Mavuika was the new damage ceiling? No, not really. As I said, damage ceilings are good if handled properly. The problem was that they expected you to have Mavuika's level of damage to actually clear in-game content. How did they do that? HP inflation. And don't even get me started about those stupid abyss shields that require Netlin characters to break them. Because of this, Genshin became the ugly way of doing HP inflation. Honkai Starbucks. Well, I don't think I need to say much. Everyone and their mother knows the game has an HP inflation issue. More specifically, a balancing and power creeping issue. Here's Blade. Now here's Blade but better. And this is just one example. And in the end, HSR became this run for your money, where the current unit will be power crept by another one in 2 to 3 months. When more time passes, the issue becomes so bad that you start to struggle with cleaning content, because you are expected to deal the same amount of damage as the new shiny unit. This video illustrates very well the situation in HSR. It's sad because I really like Honkai, but every few patches old things start to become stale, and I'm someone that really loves to just stick to a few characters that I like and not switch them out. I know Ishman will do more damage than my Zuyuan, but that's life, and although I'll for sure grab at least one copy of Ishman, I'll never stop playing Zuyuan because she's my favorite. ZZZ still allows you to play what you want regardless. You can check my channel and you'll find me clean with Jade Dawn and Bernice, even though the elemental weakness of the boss causes very nice DPS. And sadly, for the most part, that's not possible in HSR. I really wish my DOS team would be able to clear everything. But that's simply not happening, because almost every patch introduces a new damage ceiling and those teams just can't keep up. How do they do that? HP inflation. And sometimes very questionable boss mechanics. Because of these and other reasons, Honkai became the bad way of doing HP inflation. After everything we've talked about, at last, we're finally back to what made me want to record this video in the first place. HP inflation is happening in Zenless. It's just not an issue. Yet. And for this last section, I want you to take a look at this list of characters released after Miyabi. Evelyn, Soldier Zero MB, Vivian, and Hugo. Now, think about it for a second. With the same amount of investment, are any of these characters better than Miyabi, in terms of damage? No. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Also no. As I previously talked about in Genshin, damage ceilings are good when they are respected. And yes, sure, Miyabi deals more damage than Soldier Zero MB, but really, why does that bother you so much if you can still pick MB and clear content with ease? And, just for the record, MB is my current main, and the only character I have pulled for the weapon, just because I wanted to see her hair glow. Also, I don't have Miyabi, and you don't need Miyabi, or Astra, or Caesar to clear content. I agree, they are strong characters, but they are far from being needed, and or the only option you have. Which brings us back to people claiming it's a skill issue. And that's something I also don't think is right. Yes, I believe with proper investment and time, any limited S rank character can clear all content in the game, even at M0W0. And would you look at that? An underperforming unit is getting buffed so her performance can keep up with other units. And it's coming in the patch they announced the buff, instead of 4 fucking patches later, and after more than a year of having underperforming. Honkai could never. But I believe each account is in a different situation. I don't have Miyabi or Makato Desire, because when her banner was released, I was in a bad spot with my grades in college, and didn't have time to play the game. I fucking hate computer science. But I don't think it's fair for you to sum up all the people who aren't succeeding in clearing content as lacking skill. Perhaps they don't have invested as much as you in building your character. Perhaps they just started playing recently and are building their characters wrong or suboptimally. But I also think it's really dumb to start saying HP inflation is murder in Zenless Zone 0, ooh, because it really isn't, man. Zenless is on a good path, at least for now. 2.0 is coming with a lot of interesting things. People are claiming the first ZZ anniversary is the best gacha anniversary so far. So, why create problems where there aren't any? Honestly, I don't know. Perhaps it really is about content farming. I'll leave it up to you to decide. That's it for me, my friends. I've already ranted a lot for one video. Thank you for staying until the end, it really means a lot to me. If you enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing as I will continue posting more in the future. See you next time.